What's up? So just got over here to Lucky Shop and we are heading over to Dave Shuten's today over at Galpin Speed Shop to check out Tweedy Pie and take some measurements of the steering box and look at other things that we need to do. So stay tuned. So we're here today at Galpin Speed Shop and we are, it's been actually quite a while since I've hung out with this little guy and that little guy. Dave's gonna help us out.
I'm gonna have Eric bring the sun gun over so we can scan this color and create a code to mix this paint. Probably right there.
Does it have to be in the light? Or
no, it doesn't care where it is. It creates its own light. I just need a flat part about this big.
Well, we're gonna let Dave get back to work, but we're gonna take some measurements of the steering box and front components so we could build that steering box.
I needed to see it because all I had was this.
Was Piero's shit template?
He's like, we have to make this. It curves like this. Look. And I'm like, okay, I don't even really understand what you're talking about, dude. But okay.
I understand what I'm talking about, and that's all that matters.
This was all.
I bet you if you put it up to that right now, it's going to be like spot on.
Except for you missed all of this.
No, that's where the steering column goes through. Watch, put it on there. Put it on there. Come on, let's see. Let's see it. Let's see it.
He's been waiting for this for 2 years.
Look at that. Oh my God, it's perfect.
You didn't even get the wraparound side.
Yeah, totally perfect. Well, that's where you would wrap around it.
So yeah, we're gonna make this right there.
Now it will all make sense.
And now it makes even less sense. Yeah.
So it's obviously a few different adaptations when they added this bottom piece too.
Right. So that's when they tilted it back and then up so they can fit the small block in it. Because the original photos just shows it this piece actually flat on the frame because it was tilted forward, and then they had to redo all this and they redid all the pinstriping and stuff. So that's why the steering wheel is like so way up there too.
What is this vent tube, Dave? Coming out of the
vent tube? That's stock on a 265.
Is it really? Yeah. I don't know nothing about Chevy motors.
Yeah, they go faster than flatheads. Just remember that.
Yes, they do.
That's the one thing I do know. Don't ask me how I know, but I know.
Yeah, and they're way more reliable and cheap. Anyways, thanks, dude. I appreciate your help.
Yep.
So one of the cool things about having Galpin close to home and having a friend like Dave who has obviously all the awesome stuff here at Galpin Speed Shop, I'm fortunate to be able to have access to the car. I do some work with Galpin too, so it's really cool because this is kind of my office at times where I get to walk by here and see all these awesome cars. But I just wanted to show you guys the car again. It hasn't been shown in quite a while, I think since the first episode when it was in the old place, but now it's here at Dave's shop. I guess a lot of people that build cars, you know, it's kind of cool that you get to see it at the end all finished, but I get to like preview it and sit inside it and stuff, and it's just awesome that it's here and I have the access to it. It was kind of the reason why I started building that car, because I knew I had the access to the car and I was able to just to come and crawl underneath it and sit in it and kind of fantasize what my car will be like someday. But I just wanted to say thanks to Dave for always letting me climb all over it.
Well, you know, at some point the guy had to figure out how to put the steering box in there, and now we're just copying what somebody figured out how to do.
Yeah.
It's already
and it doesn't have to, yeah, I know, it doesn't have to make sense, but that's what we got to do.
Yeah.
I don't think we should add the wedge in there because that doesn't make any sense at this point. But we're building one very identical, so as much as we can do, but that wedge isn't important. It is in the story that it's how it evolved here, but that's not how your car's evolving.
Yeah, I wasn't commenting whether good or bad. I was just getting feedback.
Sweet.
Like and subscribe.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, time for the show.
Okay, well, I mean, it's the box itself is a lot different, P, but we can make it work.
It is.
Yeah, we can make it work all similar. What sticks out of the firewall is going to visually be different than this.
Yeah, it will stick out a little bit.
Yeah, like you said, whatever. I mean, it is what it is. This is crazy. The way the wedge is mounted now.
The crazy through the frame.
Tubes going through the frame.
Yeah, we could make a plate or something to hold it all
I
together.
can make a box in here inside to hide that. I mean, you don't want visually these sticking out.
No, we'll box it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy looking. So I actually, your template is good. I just need to make a couple measurements of this tube.
So what do you think, how is it done? Is it like 2 tubes and then like
I
a
would
plate
say
in between?
Yeah, I would say it's built with tube and then it's plated in between to make solid. And
it's not like a solid chunk of
no
like metal.
I mean, this wedge is.
Yeah.
But no, it was probably built with a tube, and they didn't spend time radiusing that. No, I mean, you know, obviously you can look at some of this stuff, and they didn't. I mean, if you look at these bones, they're rippled, and they weren't smoothed out and made perfect. They were chromed because they were at some point. But they didn't do things the more difficult way. He wasn't going to spend hours radiusing a solid block of metal. That's too much work. All right.
Steering box. Nice. So, yeah, it's kind of neat how they did this. They kind of took a pitman arm and they kind of cut it and remounted it here and made some wings for it to make it more stable. Stronger. And yeah, it's a cool thing. And actually Dave ended up using it on this car. He did kind of the same thing. It's kind of sort of something like it. He mounted it to the spindle, welded it all to the spindle, but it's kind of taken from this concept, which was kind of cool.
So when we started doing the chassis for this car, the car was at the Corvette Museum. Yeah. And while normally any day of the week we could come over here to Galpin and look at stuff, so we got into the thick of stuff of getting this chassis done, and we were just kind of moving on it. We had measurements, we had, you know, the certain amount of data that Piero took when the car was here. But when I got into it, the car wasn't here, so we couldn't double check anything, we couldn't measure anything, and normally we could have.
And it was gone for like a year and a half.
Yeah, it was gone.
Actually it went to Japan. And then it came back from Japan for like a week, and then it went to Tennessee for a year and a half.
So it's been back for a while now, but between COVID and all that stuff, we're just now getting to the point where we really needed to measure that steering mount and a couple little other things. We'll fab all this stuff up and get going. But there's a cute little dinky or 2. Yeah, I think we were really close on these.
Yeah.
Although, you know, this is tighter back here. We have ours going about 4 inches forward, 6 inches forward.
It's probably for best.
Yes, I would definitely agree. I would definitely agree on that. I don't think we should change it. And we probably wouldn't have had to change the K-member by doing it this way. But I think you're right. I think it's more triangulate is just going to be better in the long run.
Yeah, I think for sure.
It might be exactly the same too, though, you know. But anyway, that's the way we did it.
Yeah, one of the cool things about being here at Galpin Speed Shop is that Dave can get the paint code for me. So it's going to be really neat that I'll actually have the original paint color of the original car. You know, when people do these clones, a lot of people are kind of looking at photos and they don't have the opportunity to have the original car and the actual color. So a lot of it's just from old photos from the 50s and 60s that you don't know what the actual color is. But the Royal Titan Purple that Bob chose from the actual color of Royal Titan oil, that's how he found that color, looks great. And I'll be able to get the code and we'll be able to start painting stuff, which will be pretty neat.
How do they get that code?
We're gonna see it cut too.
All right.
All right. So Eric's here, he's gonna take a little snapshot of the paint code where we can find a decent spot.
Good. Open off the door. Complete.
Cool. And so now what's like the next step from like,
we'll plug it in the computer and it'll download the data out of the camera and compare it to known color formulas and give us a match.
Awesome. Thanks, man, for doing that. I appreciate it. All right, we're at the Master Computer Center.
So the closest match that came up is a GM color. It's not a good match.
Yeah.
This MR is a match rating. Generally, for a good match, if you want to, if you're doing collision repair or something like that, or you're trying to match an existing color, a 10 and below is acceptable.
Okay.
Since we're not doing that, this should be okay. So it's called Super Grape Poly III.
Nice. Can't wait to get in my version of it and just go have fun with my friends and man, and I can't wait to have them these two both together at some point, which would be really cool. Hopefully I can talk Dave into getting it off this white box and go for a little drive together. Maybe that would be kind of cool. We'll see, but you never know.
Take Orbitron off of this white box and put yours up here.
Oh, not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Let's take Orbitron. Just get it out of here. We don't need this car anymore.
Off to the side.
Yeah, just roll it off and I'll put mine on here. Photo op would be awesome. So anyways, that's what we're doing today. So see how it goes.
Since Piero was busy doing his real job, I had some time and I wanted to get started on the steering box. And I knew that the shaft in the casting needed to be turned down because it wasn't round at all. It was very oblong.
So I am turning down Piero's Tweedy Pie steering box because it is really lopsided, the shaft on it, and we have to make a sleeve that it slips into that clamps to it. You can see as this thing winds down how the casting is super messed up. So I'm trying to get a flat surface on it that we can clamp to. I had to turn the shaft down because it was all messed up. It was really lopsided right here.
Yeah.
Actually, I got most of it out.
That looks pretty good.
Anyway, so then now that that's true, then I had to build this clamp. So this clamp is machined inside and out, and I had to make these clamp blocks that'll tighten and squeeze onto the shaft. So as it sits in the car, coming out the cowl. Then this will go in. It slides all the way on. Yeah. And then it'll clamp nice and firm. That means the steering wheel won't rock up and down. Anyway.
And then what does that? And then where does that piece go?
And then this is the outside mount that's going to go in the firewall, cleaning up some pitted areas because this is going to get chromed. But then this clamp will go in roughly like this. This will get welded on right here. This will sit here. Walk with me.
Yeah, let's take a walk.
When this is all welded up, this is going to sit basically in here. It's going to cut through this whole corner right about this area. And it's going to cut through the corner of the firewall. And it's basically going to sit like right about there.
Yeah, that's about where it goes.
Pushed in a little bit more. And then, yeah. And then the steering shaft will come through. Steering box right here, a little cutout for the firewall. And then up to the heavens.
Up to the giant steering wheel. I don't know if I ever mentioned about this steering box. I was out in Ventura for, I think, Ventura Nats one year, and I ran into my buddy Kiwi Kev, and he started asking me what I was looking for, and I said I need a steering box that's kind of weird. It's a Ross box that's got a really long shaft, and he says, oh, I got one of those. It's actually just a doorstop in my shop. And he's like, come on by. So I went on by, and he pulled this thing out, and it's pretty close to what Tweedy Pie had, but apparently it was he found it in the back of Blair's Speed Shop. I think they were closing down, and he went back there and he found a bunch of stuff, and he happened to walk past this the steering box, and he just grabbed it. So it's kind of cool because I think it was set up for a dragster, because it had a I don't know, like a 3-foot shaft on it with like a Krager steering wheel adapter to it. So it's kind of cool that it was in a dragster, and it came out of Blair's Speed Shop. So kind of a neat little piece of history. We'll see how it works, but it's pretty much sort of what Tweedy Pie had. And then Lucky's been just going to town on it. He made the cover. He machined all this, getting it all right, made this kick-ass piece, and yeah, he's totally kicking ass on it. So. We're walking over here to see if it fits. So,
what do you mean? It fit before. Why wouldn't it fit now?
I don't know, you know. The swelling of the metal.
So yeah, that puts this right. Maybe a little tad inside.
Yeah, it's probably good like that. right, well this is kind of where it's sort of going to be. Yeah, everything like Lucky was saying is really different. The steering box is different, so the floor is going to be a little bit different up there. But it's all good. I don't care. Hey, this is temporary because we're going to make an aluminum firewall, so we're just kind of throwing it in place. You know, we'll probably trim this a little bit nicer, and I think it's pretty close enough.
Probably trim this a little bit. Come on, man.
We're going to leave it like this, but I suggested that we trim it up a little bit nicer. No, of course we're going to do it nicer, but and also the aluminum firewall goes further down. This is just like the top half of it, so it will come up and there'll be plenty of space there to cut the hole. But yeah, man, this is weird. It's kind of like, it's one of those pieces that, man, I always thought like, shit, this is gonna be so hard to make, but that guy knocked it out. But it's pretty awesome. Cool.
I'm pretty pleased with how it's happening. Like, even in Tweedy Pie, you look at Tweedy Pie as a whole and you see this, you know, this cute little purple car. I mean, you see the highlights, you see the scoops and the engine, the chrome pieces and all that, but you don't look at that stupid steering box and the firewall. And nobody probably ever will until we put this on YouTube. And then everybody's gonna go, hey, good job on that firewall.
We're gonna clean it up a little bit.
Just a little.
Just like it.
It'll be good. So, there she blows.
That looks great, man. So, yeah, steering column we'll do probably next at some point. This is kind of a guesstimate because I don't have a seat yet. But it's big and goofy, and that's kind of how it was. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. It looks just like it. So, we continue. Good job, Lucky.
Word.
Once again, thank you for coming to our theater tonight. Have an enjoyable evening. The refreshment stand will remain open for a short time. Still plenty of time to get a snack or cold drink.